At first, there was only silence. A long breath, holding silence that settled over the ruined outskirts of the village like a warning no one could hear. The Russian soldiers on the ground felt nothing unusual, just another tense morning, another cautious patrol, another attempt to move quietly through a place where every broken window, every empty doorframe, every shadow carried danger. But above them, high enough to be invisible, a small drone watched with unblinking patience. Its camera focused, its motors whispered, and within seconds, the entire battlefield shifted from calm to catastrophe. The first soldier, who sensed something wrong, didn't look upward. He looked sideways toward the sudden ripple of dust rising off the road behind him. He paused. His breathing slowed. He didn't know that the drone had already marked him, already begun its descent, already locked onto his movement. The operator miles away guided the drone with the precision of a surgeon, adjusting angles, tracking footsteps, studying every flinch. And then, in one fluid motion, the drone accelerated, dropping lower, closing the gap between sky and ground. The soldier turned, too late. The drone dove. The footage captured the startled motion in the man's shoulders, the way he stumbled backward, the way the world around him trembled as the strike shook the earth. Dust rose in a cloud. Silence shattered. Shouts broke out across the field as the remaining soldiers realized the nightmare had begun. They ran, not in a coordinated retreat, not in formation. They ran like men trying to outrun the sky itself. Their weapons clattered against their vests as they sprinted across open ground, each one convinced he was being targeted next. The drone above circled, hovering for a moment as the operator chose the next target. From the feed, the soldiers looked small, figures darting between broken walls, leaping over debris, diving into empty houses, hiding behind whatever remained of the shattered landscape. The drone dipped again. One soldier threw himself behind a rusted tractor, gasping for air, staring upward as if the sky might give him answers. The drone reacted instantly, pivoting toward the position and dropping altitude. The soldier crawled beneath the tractor, hands trembling, scanning the ground for any hope of escape. The drone approached, its camera adjusting to the darkness beneath the machinery, following every outline, every movement, every attempt to disappear. The strike sent dust and fragments across the field, scattering them like leaves in a storm. Panic spread. Two soldiers sprinted down a narrow dirt path between collapsed fences, the drone recording their frantic footsteps. The operator guided the drone through the same path, weaving past branches and broken posts, mimicking the chase of a predator tracking prey. The soldiers stumbled, regained balance, and then split in opposite directions. The drone chose the one who slowed first, the one who looked back over his shoulder with terror in his eyes. The footage showed the soldier's final attempt to duck behind a concrete slab. Too slow, too exposed. The strike erupted behind him, sending shockwaves rolling through the field. Inside the abandoned village houses, another group of soldiers tried to hide. They slammed doors shut, dragged furniture across rooms, whispered to each other through dry mouths. They didn't know the drone could see through broken windows, through cracked roofs, through gaps in crumbling walls. The operator switched to a higher altitude view, marking the structure. From above, the house looked fragile, its roof sagging, its walls half collapsed, its shadow stretching across the ground like a wound. The drone descended toward the roof. Dust rose as the drone skimmed along the edge of the building, aligning with the last remaining doorway. Inside, the soldiers heard the buzz, a thin, mechanical hum that grew louder with every heartbeat. They smothered their breathing. One soldier pressed himself against the doorframe, frozen in fear as the sound filled the room. The drone tilted, accelerated, and disappeared through the doorway in a flash of sparks. The explosion shook the entire structure. The roof sagged inward. Dust poured out of the windows like smoke from a fire. The footage captured debris lifting into the air before falling into the courtyard. The operator redirected the drone's sibling units, confirming the collapse and scanning for survivors. The building was silent, its walls fractured, its interior filled with shadows. More soldiers fled into the fields. One ran through a patch of tall grass, the stalks whipping against his legs. The drone tracked him effortlessly, gliding above the grass tops like a hawk. He zigzagged, trying to confuse the drone, but the camera locked onto his movement with perfect stability. He fell once, scrambled up, ran again, breath ragged and loud. The operator angled the drone downward, accelerating just as the soldier reached a small ditch. The strike hit behind him. Earth erupted in a fountain of dirt and dust, and the soldier vanished beneath the rising clouds. The remaining Russian unit finally realized the truth. They were not fighting soldiers. They were fighting machines. Small, deadly, silent machines guided by eyes that never blinked, controlled by hands that never hesitated. Their rifles were useless. Their formation was broken. Their cover was gone. The battlefield belonged to the drones. Another drone approached a destroyed barn where soldiers tried to regroup. The roof had collapsed partially, leaving beams jutting outward like broken ribs. The soldiers hid inside, their backs pressed against piles of scrap metal. The drone hovered outside, scanning the cracks, analyzing the shadows. Then it turned sharply and descended into the barn doorway. The world inside illuminated for a split second before the interior erupted into dust and splinters. The operation unfolded with relentless momentum. Every soldier who ran, hid, or crouched beneath rubble found himself under the unblinking gaze of the drone swarm. Some crawled through trenches, some dashed into forest edges, some flattened themselves against walls, praying they wouldn't be spotted. None of it mattered. The drone tracked motion, heat, shadows, patterns, footsteps. It moved faster than humans could think, turning corners in milliseconds, slicing through air with unnerving silence. The operator switched perspectives constantly. Overhead, low altitude, side angle, creating an aerial map of the fleeing unit in one chilling sequence. A soldier sprinted across a field and reached a small house at the edge of the village. He slammed the door shut, locking himself inside. The drone approached slowly, hovering over the roof. Through cracks in the ceiling, the camera captured fragments of movement. The operator took a deep breath, then sent the drone lower. It dropped through the missing tiles. The interior flashed white. The walls trembled. Dust burst from the windows like smoke. When the drone rose again, the house was still standing but silent. Its last occupant gone. By the end of the operation, the entire area had transformed. What began as a defensive line of hidden soldiers had turned into a graveyard of abandoned positions, shattered structures, empty trenches, and scattered gear. Smoke drifted across the fields in soft waves. The drones hovered above, recording the aftermath, every crater, every collapsed wall, every place where panic left its mark. The surviving soldiers who escaped the swarm ran until their legs gave out. Some reached the tree line. Others collapsed behind hills. All of them were shaken, not just by the strikes, but by the realization that the battlefield had changed forever. No warning, no footsteps, no muzzle flash, only a distant buzz in the sky, a sound that meant there was no place left to hide. The drone swarm hovered over the battlefield one last time, scanning the ground for movement. Seeing none, the operator lifted the drones higher, pulling them back into the sky until the ruined village grew smaller and smaller beneath them. What remained was not just destruction, it was a mess ahead. This is modern warfare, silent, precise, relentless, and impossible to escape.